Welcome to all our viewers and listeners on Torah Anytime, YouTube, and everybody else who came here to Avos Shalom to base Tzvi. And munch your breakfast as you listen to me, no problem. We are in Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph, Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph, top of the page in Maseches Makkos, in case you haven't noticed. And we are talking about the issue of Srita and Gedida. Srita and Gedida, the Shiur's Leilu Nishmas, my father. Menachem ben Akiva, Leilu Nishmas, Rus Bashalom Sarabas Moshe, Leilu Nishmas, Esther, Basalio, Leilu Nishmas, all the such a terrible thing, all the kidnapped there were found out dead. May the other ones come out alive. Be'ezras Hashem, come back. Lerefuas Chana Batzima, Lerefuas Prinecha Bazgul Arochet B'toch Shochel Yisrael. We are learning about the prohibition, the third prohibition, the issue of Srita and Gdida. A person is not allowed to lisrot, is not allowed to scratch himself over a dead person. Meaning, if a person is very, very sorry that a relative or a friend was niftar, what does he have to do? You cry, you mourn, you do avelus, but you don't, what don't you do? You don't, you're not allowed to scratch any part of your body with your fingernails in order to, bring out blood. You can't scratch yourself to blood, in order to bleed, in order to show sorrow for the dead person. By the way, parents, I checked it. The Shulchan Aruch says, if I'm not mistaken, it says even not al mace. In other words, even if the mace is not there. I don't know if there's a time span, but even if it's not, mamish by the presence of the dead body, right? In other words, I don't know if it has any time limit. I don't think so, because I looked in the Shulchan Aruch. Little me didn't see any time span. Let's say somebody all of a sudden remembers that a Yortzeit of 20 years ago. I think, nearly, that if he scratches himself any part of the body, right, to show tsar, that is a problem, more than a problem. Is Chai Malkus Yisod Oraisa. Now we mentioned that there are two different lavim, Srita and Gdida. The basic axiom, the basic, the starting point is Srita is with the fingernails, like that, and Gdida means when you cut yourself, Chlila, with an instrument, a knife, okay? As we'll see the pasuk later. However, some people mix together Srita and Gdida, and soon we're going to see what that exactly means. Omar Shmuel. Finally, we can start reading. Omar Shmuel. HaMesaret B'Kli Chayev. Listen to Shmuel as if Shmuel is using the wrong terminology, and he's doing it on purpose. He says the person who's Mesaret with a Kli. We just said that Kli is what? Use a Kli. It's not called Mesaret, it's called Goiden. So why is Shmuel saying Mesaret B'Kli? It's a saying eating wine and drinking bread. Why is he saying it? I'll tell you why. On purpose, he's telling you that really Srita and Gdida are both in both. Although the dictionary definition of Srita is with the fingers and Gdida is with a knife, nevertheless, really the Torah prohibition applies to both. Meaning, very clearly, if a person takes a knife and starts cutting himself, cutting, youngsters, no longer who do it, and he does it because of what? To show sorrow, then he's chayv on both Srita and Gdida. Yeah, forget about the dictionary definition. The halachic definition is that once you do one, you chayv on both. You have two sets of 39 malchus. Yeah, in other words, every time you do it with you harm yourself with the kli, it's Gdida and Srita. Right? In other words, the term mixes them together and adds them up. It's a cumulative. It's not either or alternative, but rather cumulative. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you very, 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 very much. Frag de Gemore, Meisivi. We see in the Brisa, Srita v'Gdida, Achasi. The Brisa says that Srita and Gdida are one, only in the sense as the Rivan, that they both have to do with the dead person. Ela Srita b'yad, v'Gdida b'kli. The Brisa says, not like you, Shmuel. The Brisa says halachically. We're not learning Hebrew here, yeah? We're learning halacha. And the Brisa said Srita means with a hand, and Gdida means with a kli. If so, how can Shmuel say otherwise? Meaning, when the Torah, the Brisa is telling me, if I use the fingernails, I have one set of 39 malchus. One, what? Srita. I use the knife, then what happens? I have Gdida. That's against Shmuel. He holds like Rabbi Yosi, which we saw yesterday. Rabbi Yosi, at the end of the previous page, Rabbi Yosi says, no, Rabbi Yosi is the Tana that holds like who? Like Shmuel, or Shmuel is like Rabbi Yosi. They believe that Srita and Gdida are all mixed together. Although the dictionary definition of srita is with the hand and gdida is with a knife, I don't care. The Torah adds them both to tell me I'm chayiv on both if I use the knife. I'm chayiv two isurim of srita and gdida. Yes. Okay, nice question. Weiter. Here. Weiter. Zog the Gemara weiter. Tani Tana Kamed Rabbi Yochanan. Al meis, as we just said, if the person demonstrates sorrow over a dead person, ben bayad ben bekli chayiv, right? Forget about the amount, but we all know that at the end of the day, everyone agrees that if you show sorrow over a dead person and you scratch yourself to bleed, to blood, either with a hand or with an instrument, you're chayiv malchus, either one or two. Al avodas kochovim, opa, here comes a new guy to town. What about avodas kochovim? We are machas chaf aleph amud aleph, and the end of the narrow lines. Chaf aleph amud aleph, the last narrow line at the top of the page. Al avodas kochovim beyad chayev b'kli potu. Let me explain. Some of the Zoras, now we just moved for a few minutes from the Isser of a guy, from the scenario of a guy who said, or a woman, it's very common by women, that is said over the dead person. Now we're talking about an Ovid of the Zohar. There was apparently, as we learn in the Novi, there was a type of a Zohar, a style of a Zohar, where people would actually either, well, I'm telling you a little bit at the end of the story, they would cut themselves and cause themselves to bleed in honor of the Zohar, maybe to show loyalty, I'm not sure. You know who did that? The worshippers of the Baal, you know the Baal, the husband, I'm joking. The worshippers of the Baal, yeah, those in times of Eliyahu, right? They had the big demonstration at our Carmel, right? So they started davening to their Baal, and they started scratching themselves with the knives, with the remochim, with the spears. So now, what happens if a person, Chlila, wants to be over the Zohar? Bayad chayev b'kli potu. If he scratches himself with a hand, he's chayev malchus, or could be chayev koris. Chayev koris is over the Zohar. Skila, over the Zohar. If he does it with an instrument, yeah, we say b'kli potu. If you cut yourself in honor of the Zohar with a kli, then you're potter. Now let me ask you a question. Do we decide what's normal by the Zohar? Or do the Goyim decide? You want to know how to be a good Presbyterian? Go to Father Mackenzie. You want to know how to be a good Catholic? Go to Father McKinley. Right? In other words, I'm not joking. These are sugis in Sanhedrin over the Zohar. Let me explain. There are two types of Isur over the Zohar. Let's say a bunch of Meshugan has decided that, don't laugh, defecating in front of the Zohar and wiping yourself, this is all in the Gemara, in honor of the Zohar, that's not Merkulis, you close. No, that's a Baal Pe'o. Merkulis is to throw a stone. The Baal Pe'o, you know, the Jewish guys found this Goysha girl so enticing, so alluring, she told him to, make in toilet. I wouldn't find it very, tempting in any event, yeah? So she said you have to defecate in front of the Getchke, and that's how it is all. If you defecate in front of Baal Pe'o, you chayiv? Yes, because that's what's normal by the Zohar, right? So it depends on the norm of the Zohar. But let's say you don't defecate. Let's say you clap in front of the Baal Pe'o, you're not chayiv, because clapping in front of Baal Pe'o, in their norms, that's not the avodah. However, some of the Zohars are universal and are not decided by just by the goyim. For example, let's say you bow down, zibuch, kitur, v'nisuch. 4 things you do in Beis Hamikdash, you always chayiv if you do them to any of the Zohar, even if the worshippers of that of the Zohar don't believe in it. Why? Because these things are done to Hashem. You're like a woman betraying her husband. You're like, yeah, something's supposed to be done to Hashem, bowing down in the Mikdash, Haktoro, Nisuch of the wine, the libation, do the Zohar. Here we find a new point. Now the story is as follows. Because it's very normal by many of the Zohars, it's the derech to worship of the Zohar by scratching, even if this particular of the Zohar is not the required of the Zohar, is not to scratch with a hand, you're still chayiv, because it's like a universal thing. It's very normal, right? And therefore, even if this particular one you're not supposed to scratch, you're still chayiv. That's what the Rivan says, not me. Now, frek de Gemore va'ipcha, first wide line. Ksiv, as I told you, that's not right. Ksiv is godedu kamishpotom b'charovos u'beramochim. It says about Eliyahu Novi's opponents, yeah, what did they do in those who worship the Baal? B'charovos u'beramochim. They started lihisgoided, meaning to cut themselves. How? With the knives, with the spears. So you see that that's not right. You're telling me the universal, normal default of a desora of those who scratch is to scratch with a hand and not with an instrument? No, look at the Navi. Get your Navi right. And we see here that scratching with a knife, that was a normal thing. Ela ema, we just have to tweak the brisa and change the words. Bayad potur bikli chayev. Must be it's the other way around. Must be what? If you scratch yourself with a hand to the Avodah Zarah, again, don't get me wrong. If you know, if the guys, wearing some orange robes or something, if the priests and the menahalim of the place, they tell you our Avodah Zarah is to scratch with the hands, then scratching with the hand, obviously you're chayav, right? Because each Avodah Zarah has his own mishigas. Yeah, each mishigan has his own mishigas, right? Mashe'en ken, if they tell you we don't particularly believe in cutting with the knives, and you cut with a knife, you're still chayav. Because the Torah standardized it that cutting with a knife in honor of the Zorah is so normal otherwise that even for this of a Zorah, it's not normal, you're still chayav. That's a chiddush. Chayav on what of a Zorah? This has nothing to do with dead people. Before we continue, I want to tell you something quite surprising. There is an opinion in the Achronim, I think the Shach, one of the Noisikelim, one of the commentaries in Shulchan Aruch says that if a person shows tsar over not a dead person, he shows tsar and he pulls out his hair or misguided in order to show that he's sorry about his house that burnt, right? Or his boat that sank. We said that this is okay. Somebody here said it's not okay. It's a machloikes whether it's okay or you're not chayiv malchus. When the Gemara excluded that and said only over dead people, that means you don't get malchus. But there's a machloikes achroinim. Shulchan Aruch says there's no problem. Masha'enke and I think the Shach the Taz. Well, one of the achroinim says there is a problem. There's no malchus, but still forbidden to do that, even to show sorrow over other things. So just bear that in mind. You should never know any tragedies, but even if chas v'shalom tragedy befalls, it's better not to scratch yourself to blood. That is highly recommended, and we should all know simches vehatzloches. V'chayev ala rosh. Rosh. Basically, what did we say? If a person has these sides cut, each one is a separate 39. A person goes to the beautiful barber shop down in our beautiful Merkaz Mischari, and he does the whole thing. He's chayav 39 plus 39. Each one separate. Each one is a separate chiyuv, right? Okay, those who do it are like, fine. So now, Machvi Rav Sheshes ben Pirki Reisha. Where is it that you chayav on the head? Rav Sheshes would show with his own fingers ben Pirki between the not the knuckles is not the word. Between the prokim, between the bones of the head, basically over here where the bone is, a bit protruding, So over here, that's where you shouldn't have. Some are machmir here. I'm not going to the locha now. Yeah, the middle over here, that's where between here and here, that's when you're not allowed to shave mitzad the head. Now comes the other Yisur. There's a separate Yisur. Lo tashchisu pe'az kanchem. Don't to destroy the beard. Shtay mikan v'achas melamata. Machvi Rav Sheshes ben Pirki Dikna. We said 2 and 2. So according to the Rivan, which is one of many, you have 2 right below the head Yisur. 2 over here says there are 2 bones who end over here. And 1 little one that joins the 2 bones, that's a 5th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Rav Sheshes would show it as much as Rav Sheshes showed it. We don't have the video from Rav Sheshes. So as I said, big machlokes rishonim. Some say here. Bekitzer, says Shulchan Aruch, play it safe, mister. It don't be. You know what happens if you're going to shave your beard every morning? You have how many malchus? How much is 5 times 39? No, come on, 100 and. So every morning, a Jewish guy who b'mezid doesn't care and takes the tar, the razor, and he's doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He does the whole zach very nicely. Also, the mustache with that. He's chayiv 195. Is that worth it? Yeah, I don't think so. You want to look elegant, cool, hunky? Not worth it. It's 5 times 39 malchus because there are 5 spots of isurim. Weiter. Okay, Rabbi Lezer Oimer im Notlon. Rabbi Lezer is more lenient, and he says kasava chad lavu. Rabbi Lezer says that if you cut both payas here and here, you chayiv on what? You chayiv on 1. You're not on. Both of them are chayiv 1. It's 1 iser to do both. Either you did 1 or 2. You only chayiv 1. It's like eating 2 pieces of chazir, which you already with 1 throw. It's just one thing. Oh, here comes the famous Gemara. We saw it in Kiddushin also. Excuse me. My tea break. Thank you, thank you. So what did we say? As opposed to the hair, which you're not allowed to cut close to the skin even without razor, in the Zokon, as we know, people do shave over here, right? As long as you don't do it with a razor or razor-like machine. How do you know that? What's the source for that? How do you know that with the beard, the prohibition is only with tal? It says twice in the Torah not to shave your beard. It says one time by the Kohanim in Parshas Emoil, "Letashchis as koncho." Yeah, and the other one it says about everybody else, "Pe'as zekonim lo yigalechu." One is legaleach. Legaleach means to cut, to shave is to cut, and lehashchis means to destroy, to completely pull out, completely cut. Let's see what that means. Tonobonon. Upe'as konim lo yigalechu. Yeah, they should not shave the corners of their beard. Legalech means to cut. Wait, if I take small scissors or a machine that has lots of tiny small scissors, right, and you cut close to the skin, are you going to be chayev? Because legalech means to cut. Well, scissors cut. So let's say I cut my beard, maybe I'm chayev, maybe even a little bit. I trim my beard every Friday, yeah? So if I cut my beard like this with the scissors, maybe I'm chayev, the oraisa. No, you should not destroy. Destroy means that the whole entire hair is out, right? The entire hair is out of touch, not you trim and you cut with scissors. Scissors never get you all the way down to the skin. Lashchosa means kill the whole thing like mamish clean shaven. You know these people that the faces look like a mirror? Yes, that's for sure ashchosa. Now, frag the Gemara, wait. If you're concerned about ashchosa, destruction, the hair completely out? If so, wait. Malket is clearly what you said yesterday, tweezers. Let's say I take tweezers and I pull out, I pluck and pull out, I eradicate the hair, I pull out, it hurts, right? I pull out the hair, so maybe I'm chayev because I'm mashchis. Ashchosa means, it's even more of ashchosa, I take it out of the root, right? Out. So let's say I plucked out all my hair, maybe I should be chayev because I'm mashchis, I killed the whole thing. So the Gemara, Talmud loimer lo yigalechu. You see what's going on here? In other words, both psukim, each one complements the other. The yigalechu and the ashchosa, each one with the gzera shova. What's gzera shova? Pe'as, pe'as. Pe'as zkonam, and it says here also pe'as zkoncho, pe'as zkonam. The word pe'ah, the corner, appears in both psukim. Gzera shova, import, export. HaKetzad. So what's the final result once you have the entire Gzer Shov at hand? Giluach sheyesh bo ashchoso. Hevei omer zeta. Very nice. We require both, not either or, but both requirements, meaning it has to be giluach with ashchoso. Let me explain. When you are megaleach with the scissors, you're megaleach. It's called giluach in classical Hebrew. But you're not destroying. How far can I get with scissors? They're not destroying. And if I destroy with the what's its name, with the tweezers, I pull out, yeah, then what? I'm also mashchis, but I'm not megaleach. You're only chayiv when it's both giluach and ashchoso, i.e., razor. The razor, the way it's done is giluach, meaning it's cutting. You're not pulling. Pulling is okay. You're cutting, which is not okay. Plus, it's so close to the skin that it's called hashchoso. It's called destruction of the hair. Not like in modern terms, you know, like the girls say, I destroyed my hair. I mean, destroy, it's going to grow tomorrow or in 2 days' time. Destroy meaning it's completely cut off right now. I don't mean you're supposed to, you know, do something to completely kill it, yeah? Therefore, only razor meets both requirements. Giluach and hashchoso, that's where razor is also, and other things are seemingly okay. Again, some scissors nowadays are too close. Shavers, I'm not going to shavers, that's another thing. Okay, I can hear a quick question now. Okay, just to enlighten a little bit, I don't claim to be an expert on shavers, but I do know, I did read in the Kitzur's forum the issue with shavers is as follows. The issue is that when the Gemara tells you scissors are not mashchis, that's scissors. As much as I would try with regular home scissors to cut, I will always be left with some stubble. The shavers, they do a much, much better job, right? And somehow, somewhat, yeah, they get very, very close to the skin. They pull the skin, whatever they do, and they really cut very, very close. So if you have misparaim that cut very, very close, maybe that's already called tar. I'm not paskening. I'm just pointing the problem. You claim otherwise, fine. I'm saying there are different opinions. Ask your competent posek, and okay, and you look great. Weiter. Rabbi Lezer argues and says, no, even if you pulled it out with the tweezers, you're also chayiv, mamish chayiv malchus. Okay, frag the Gemara, manafshach. What's Rabbi Lezer's idea? Make up your mind, kivyochel Rabbi Lezer. Ego m'gzera shova. If Rabbi Lezer learns, believes in gzera shova, not all Tanoim believe in all gzera shovas. If Rabbi Lezer believes in the gzera shova of what we just said now, peas koncho, peas kanchem, then libai tar. How can he say, right, you chayv on pulling? We just proved that the result of the double gzera shova, giluach plus ashchoso, equals tar. So you should require tar, not pulling out. Pulling out should not be chayv. Iloi gomer gzera shova, misparaim nami. And if you don't learn gzera shova, if you don't believe in the gzera shova, then you should forbid also the scissors, right? Very good. Before we had the gzera shova, what would we add? Scissors, they cut and don't destroy, and the tweezers that destroy but don't cut. So do you believe in the gzera shova or don't you? If you believe in the gzera shova, then only tar. If you don't believe in the gzera shova, then you should also forbid the scissors. You should forbid any kind of cutting. And it says the Gemara, well, I'm not going to the word loy. And it says the Gemara, lo'olam gami gzera shova. He believes in gzera shova. He believes gzera shova. What does he believe? That really what's required in order to be chayiv, you have to tick both boxes, giluach and ashchoso. So why are scissors also? The scissors are not megaleach, right? Excuse me, not the scissors. Excuse me, the tweezers. Why did he forbid the tweezers? Because sover haninami giluach avdi. He believes that when they pull out, he defines it as giluach. There's a very strange lotion of Ivan. I'm not so sure. He says giluach. He says that derech legaleach behen. It's kind of normal. The Rivan has a lotion that giluach does mean cutting, as I remember from Kiddushin. Giluach means what's called normally cutting your beard, something like that. So because he believes that pulling out is normal enough, therefore that does fall under the definition of giluach shesh b'ashchosa. In other words, he doesn't argue the concept. Rabbi Lezer agrees to the concept. You need giluach and ashchosa. You need to tick both boxes. I believe, he says, when you pull with the market, with the tweezers, that is called enochinami, cutting and the whole thing. That is giluch shel ashchoso. That's how he's magdir it. That's what defines it. Maybe he believes you chayv. Allah is not looking as far as I know, but that's Rabbi Lezer's opinion. Now let's learn about tattoo. Unfortunately, very, very, very sad phenomenon. This is becoming more and more popular, sadly so, by secular Jews. Mamsha tragedy, Noira. The good news is they become frum afterwards. And then there are people who remove the tattoos. I've heard it's a process that takes years and a lot of money and pain, but they go through it. What? Lasers, whatever. What? Yeah. Use a laser. Okay, they use a laser. Shalom. Yeah. Akaisev zog the Mishnah. Akaisev ksevis kaka. A person who writes on someone else's body or his own. Again, the main prohibition is the tattoo artist. Yeah, he or she are in trouble. They're the ones who are actively doing it. They are the ones who love sheyesh b'maisa. Akaisev ksevis kaka. Kosav kaka really means, we call it tattoo. Lekaka means to drill in, to cut in. What? Prick. Okay, pricking. Right. So you're pricking in. Kosav veloy kiyaka. Let's say a person wrote. In other words, what's kakua? The Rivan explains very well how kakua is done. That's called in modern Hebrew. It's called the same name. Yeah, like you show a chiloni the chumash, there's no way to go. Ktovet kaka. It's the same word in modern Hebrew. So basically, kosav velo kiyaka. What do? They inject some color, right? So there's color in there that's drawn, that's painted with what? And somehow they inject it in such a way that it's under the skin. Yeah, the pricking, the sharp thing somehow gets it under the skin, and then it stays there for life. More or less, that's a business. There are two things involved: the coloring, the painting, whatever you want to call it, and there is the painful part of the, this going under the skin with the not knife, with a injection, a needle, with a needle. Yeah, with a needle. What? Yeah, I've heard it's painful. So people say, moister nefesh. Okay. Kosa veloy kiakea. A person wrote on his body without injecting it in. He just had the writing on the body. Kiakea veloy kosa. Let's say he pricked the body without writing. Eino chayev achichto vikakea bedyoy, not yodoy. Bedyoy ubekhoil ubechol davos shuroishem. In other words, if you only had writing on your skin, you should know. You hear what's going on here? If you write on your skin without kiakua, you're not chayev. Some people say that to write on your skin is an Isser Doraisa, because they say there is such an opinion that says that it's much more from the Mishnah quite ask your rabbi if you want to write the phone number or just write stuff. I say this to my kids. It's not simple. I'm not poisik. The Mishnah seems to be saying if you write without the tattoo aspect, you're not chayev. Last time I checked, Einu chayev means what? That it's osir. Or let's say you did kiakua without writing, you somehow did a piercing into the body without any writing, then you are not chayiv. I'm not sure if there's an issa over there. What it is, so is mashma. But the chiyuv d'oraisa that makes you get malchus is only if there is proper tattoo. There's a needle that injects the color under the skin. You have the color and the injection, the painful, the needle. Now, Reb Shimon ben Yehuda Mishum Reb Shimon Oimer, Ein chayiv ad shichtov sham es Hashem. Reb Shimon Reb Yehuda and the Reb Shimon is giving us a very, very big kula, and he says you only chayiv if you write Shem. What does it mean Hashem? What's Hashem? Shem Hashem. So it sounds like, right? It sounds as if Reb Shimon says you only chayiv in tattoo, not if you make a picture of a butterfly, your favorite football team or whatever tattoo people do, or worse, I don't want to say. Yeah, only if you wrote Shem Hashem, Yudke Vovke. By the way, that exists too. Yeah, they think they're very frum. They write Shema Yisrael, Hashem, all kinds. They go to toilet with it. Shem Yishmo. Shem Yishmo. My daughter was in the airport. The lady in front of her. It says the whole person. On the back of the lady, it says my daughter's a very frum girl, and she saw in front of her Vati Estel Noises Chen Beinei Kol Roea. Was the whole posuk was tattooed on her back. Vati Esther Noises Chen Beinei Kol Roea. Esther found grace in the eyes of everybody that saw her. Posuk Megillas Esther on the woman Shem Shmo Shem. They mean well. Hashem Yazor. Hashem. We need Mashiach right this second. So Bekitzer, this opinion says, oh, that's not true what I'm telling you now, but that's the Havamina, that only if you wrote the name of Hashem, only then you chayiv. No other shape or form or thing. Why? Shenema uksevis kaka lo titnu bechem. Don't write any tattoo, right? Yeah, Ani Hashem, I'm Hashem. Sounds like there's a smicha juxtaposition. Don't write the kaka, Ani Hashem. Don't tattoo, I am Hashem. Which right away leads us to the question, Omar le zog de gemore, the heilige gemure, Omar le ravacha bereder over le ravashi, ad dichtov Ani Hashem mamish? Like, are you trying to tell me, is the Mishnah trying to tell me that the only text I'm not allowed to have tattooed or write the tattoo are the words Ani Hashem? The only thing you can't have as a tattoo are verbatim the words Ani Hashem, because that's what the pasuk says. Amar lei lo 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 lo, you're completely off mark here. Kedetani bar kapo enu chay bat shichtes shem avodat skoichovi ma pa 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 shenema uktobes kakalo titnu bachem Ani Hashem v'lo acher. Let me explain. Completely off mark, which means it means to say not Hashem as we tend to call Hashem, not God. Hashem, you shouldn't write a name. Don't write the forbidden, according to Reb Shimon, the only forbidden and chayiv, by the way, not forbidden, the only type of tattoo that you chayiv if you have done or you do to others are names or maybe shapes of Avodah Zaros. Yeah, can't have all kinds of Eastern gods, their names tattooed on your body. Why? Ani Hashem is not telling you what is the text. Ani Hashem is coming to negate the text. Don't write the Ksovis Kaka of Kuchka Muchka from India and Pachachucha from Papua New Guinea. Don't have those because Ani Hashem, don't show loyalty to other gods by having their names tattooed on your wherever arm, yeah? Elamai, only I am Hashem. Having said that, I was almost slipped at the slip of a tongue. Even according to Reb Shimon, which is not halacha anyways, even according to Reb Shimon, it's not allowed to have a butterfly and have a cow or whatever thing. You're not chayiv malchus, but it's still osir, right? That's how some Rishonim learn. But Lamaisa, as far as I know, halacha is what? Halacha is any type of tattoo is also. We will see an exception later, but that is machlokes tanoim. If it's only with the Zohar. I do know Ravadi Yosef allows certain cases of, well, let's talk about it later, And he does put siruf, he joins that opinion of that kaka is only forbidden as the name of a dezara in certain cases to allow certain things, which we'll discuss towards the end of the sugya. So this opinion is like not halacha, but like a dormant yesh oimrim that we sometimes add in as a kula, as Mr. Bur does a lot of times, Rav Vadi does that a lot. Weiter. Now let's continue. I don't know if to use a chart or not. We'll see. Omar Rav Malkia. Yeah, I think I will do it. Yeah, 1 second. No, he was. Ah, right. There's a thing. There's a name for it. Cauterization. Yeah. Cauterizing. I meant cauterization.
You don't situation where you have not
Okay, but it's not that leaves color. Ah, afer macular. Oh, interesting. There, it's not like the burn. They put afer, but maybe there is hot. I hear. Maybe interesting. Okay, I hear. Interesting point. I hear. What do you mean medical tattoos? Like what?
People undergo radiation. When they place the camera has to be placed exactly at the same
So just
time.
so can't you mark it with a pen?
The pen will rub off.
They go through all process of lo no-nos.
Put in a very small tattoo. It's basically a dot,
But
it's permanent.
Oh, l'chor it's allowed. Makkos l'chor.
The radiation camera
Mm-hmm.
placed exactly, and that
Lo shouldn't need.
is a header for that.
There's no heter for that whatsoever. I paskin there's no heter. Okay, okay, that's a good example. So yeah, I mean, okay, thank you.